All right, everyone. Hello. This is Chaos is Crafting, and welcome. We are going to talk about a way to manage very busy coloring pages today. So I have a couple different examples of things that I've done. I'm going to grab out a brownish color. What is this? Chestnut. Yes. Okay. I am grabbing out a colored pencil to kind of darken my lines, and I'm going to be using a color that I know is the interior is going to be really rich in. So, oh my god. 1.5. Okay, no. Gosh. Sorry. Trying to. Let me see. Okay. So, alright, I'm just gonna. Okay. So, as you can see right here, I've colored in, it's a very small section from right here to right here. Because I know people have a really hard time with very busy coloring books like Kerby Rosanes, I just wanted to show a way to be able to break up the pages. So I initially did this in gray, but it is kind of hard to see. So I am going just to be darkening this line up a tad bit, enough that I can erase it later, and I know that I won't hurt anything because this picture is going to be pretty dark anyways. So, oh my gosh. This desk is so thin compared to my actual desk. Okay. More better. Let's see. 1, 2. There we are. Okay, right there. So, all I did was the vertical marks are 1/2 centimeter. You could do it very differently. I didn't want to do the entire page just because this isn't how I usually color, but I did just want to show you and kind of make it a little bit easier to see. I think, yes, okie dokie. This one. Okay. All right, so with these pages, with something like this, 0.5, okay, there's a lot going on right here. So with something like this, we know this is a dresser, right? But then we look up on the wall and it almost kind of blends in with each other a bit too much. And so up here, this would be really good for essentially doing this. So like you can grid it. There we go. Oh, that was actually not at the right level that I just put that mark. All right. Where am I? Let me find my spot in the page right there. Okay. Yep. So I just messed this one up a little bit. Looks like. There we are. Just erase that. I am using my chestnut is actually really low. I'll probably use more mahogany and dark browns than chestnuts unless I can get a new pencil. But I just took a pencil that is not going to be too much with the color. Right there. Okay, so now we have these 2 boxes, and so you can see, hey, I see some sage. There's part of a bowstring right there. There's the bow. There's rope hanging right here. And then going down into this box, you see animal paws, and then a little bit slice of a pitchfork. I do think doing something like this and then maybe taking paper over it would be helpful, just to be able to see. There we are. Okay. Yeah, so like blocking out and then just really seeing, you know, what is right there, coloring right there. Of course, doing something like this will take quite a while. So right here I have really light blue. It's a skylight blue. Hold on, that's a cloud blue. Where's my sky? Is it this one? That's a powder. Oh my gosh. Okay, sky blue light. Nope. And lime peel. All right, so sky blue light and lime peel. Sky blue light is 1086 and lime peel is 101005. So for the greenery on here, so let's, okay, right here, if we color right here, it's a bit better of a of a tile piece, essentially, that has way more parts to it, right? So the first two colors are down, and then I need a gray, and I need it to be cool because shadows are cool. 2%. Here's 20% cool gray. So I'm gonna go easy when I start to color in the shadows. This is a 20% cool gray. It's a little bit of a change, not much. Ooh, oh my gosh. My normal workstation is in the garage. The garage is entirely too hot right now. Whenever we get our spare room back, my partner will be moving his computer into the spare room, and my art stuff will be going into the dining room area that is set up right now for both of our computers. So then the back spare room will still be our spare bedroom, but it will also be his office. We don't have a lot of people come visit us much, so it will work for us until we can move out of the place that we're currently in. So yeah, okay. So right here, I just put down some 20% cool gray, which is 1060. It's not doing much, but that's okay. I just want to lightly build up the color a little bit, and then I will go in with a 50%, a little bit more. You can start building the color up a little bit more on the inside. Does a little bit more. Yeah, okay. And then right there. Okay. So we have about a quarter of the little sliver colored. So what do we want? We're gonna keep this part, the edge and the middle color the same. So then, where's my 20? Maybe that was a 30. Was that a 30 or was that a 20? No, okay. I lied. Did I lie? 1061 and 1063. Oh, did I put it like that? No. Okay. I don't know. Did I just hallucinate? Is that a 20? That's a 10. You know what? Whatever. All right. 30% cool gray, 1061. Gonna go in right here on this shadow, start darkening it a little bit. Still want the majority of the color to be blue. And then go in a little bit more. Not too hard. And then go back in with this blue. Okay. And then I may put a different blue in on this edge. I don't know yet. We shall see. This is just to show you what I mean when I say you can grade your paper lightly. Oh, hey, look, here's my 20%. Ha. Okay. Yeah, no, idiot. I am an idiot. Thank you for watching. Just kidding. All right. What color would look good to be those? Maybe salmon pink. Is that it? I don't like that. Vermilion, maybe. Pale vermilion. I don't know, actually. Like, I use purple a lot. Purple is actually is one of my favorite colors. A light just broke and I heard it. Maybe not. Okay. Maybe we'll do a very light pink. This one, or should we do what is this one? Nectar, no. Okay, Deco Pink and Deco Yellow. Deco Yellow. Okay, actually, this might look really cute. All right. Let's pretend these are flowers. No idea if they're flowers or leaves. I was gonna paint. I was gonna color them green, but I feel like Grandma would have a little bit more, you know, like grandma-y things. Or, you know, I may change my mind and change the color to, actually, you know what? Hold on. I'm gonna use the same colors. I just don't like how that specifically is looking. And we can go over this, change this. Okay. All right. So that's going to be blue. And then this line right here is going to be yellow. I do think that will look really nice. And then the background is going to be pink and not yellow. And the good thing about Prismas is you can usually lay on enough layers that the first layer that you did on accident, you won't even be able to notice it. So, and you can add fixative spray or like a Mod Podge, and you can go over it again and recolor in just to make it appear a little more of the true color you want to show, and then just reseal it pretty much. So yeah, all right. So boom and boom. So now these two little pieces are colored. And I do think it helps with the color selecting. If if I were to have painted this entire outlier liner in yellow and I didn't like that, then I would have had to go through and completely erase all of that. But because I didn't like the way that was looking, I just went through and I recolored it pink. So I do think it makes you go a little bit slower to really think about what colors you want to use. And so these little two pieces are done. And there. I mean, obviously not the quickest thing in the world, but it is a way to get to color easier, if you will. I'm gonna color a little bit more on here just to show you. Why don't we go here? I'm gonna grab my Imperial Violet, which is this one, and that's that. Okay, so all right, so this face is going to be Imperial Violet 1007. I really like vases to be very bold colors. For me, vases are usually like statement pieces, and so I like them to be very, very bold looking. And then pick up the 50% and maybe the 90. Here we are. Okay. 90% cool gray, 1067. 1067, right? Okay. So go down to the bottom of this. And just remember, like, when you're coloring things that are gray, those are usually going to be a warm gray or French gray. When you are putting in shadows and shading, that's going to be a cool gray. And it doesn't have to be the deepest, darkest color. Most of the time you won't want it to be, and most of the time you won't be coloring that heavily to where, or I guess that dark. Most people, I feel like they don't color very dark colors, or they don't use very dark shades for the entire picture, you know. So most of the time you probably won't be using like 90% or 70%. A lot of the time I do tend to stick down with the lower grays. I do like the higher grays. Once the picture is more advanced, you will see how you'll see how the darkness comes out in it. So yeah. And then do that one right there, and then bloop, 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 and bloop. And then right there. One of my favorite colors ever is Imperial Violet. No idea why. Actually, one of my favorite colors is Periwinkle. Love the color Periwinkle. I love to say periwinkle, but the periwinkle that Prismacolor makes is not the periwinkle color that I associate periwinkle to be. So I don't ever use that one, or else that one would be my favorite color. I mainly use the Imperial Violet. Henna, where is mahogany red and a brown. So whenever you're using reds, or you're going to use oranges or yellows, you're going to want to use the browns that correspond. This isn't the most, red brown that I have, but it is deeper, that matches that underlying tone. Let's see. Because as you see, this one is more, the one in the middle is definitely more of a colder, darker brown. In this one, if you were to look at it by just your eyeballs, you can see like the lightness and the orange undertone to it. Yeah, so I will be using dark brown with the mahogany red. Okay, let's see, where am I at? Okay, so I have a little bit left of this little tile right here. So the way that I have always colored these, because believe it or not, Kirby was one of my first adult coloring books. I got World of Color Volume 1 a few years ago, I think around 23. I had been a colorer before, but just not anything that I really stuck with until this year. And so I mainly just messed around on it, and then I abandoned that craft as well. And then when I came back to it, I love Kerby Rosanes' books so much. And so how I've always just colored these where I went for it because they're coloring books. You can rebuy them, and I know that that is a very privileged thing that you can do. I don't make a lot of money, you know, so I get it. It is really hard to repurchase coloring books. And actually, this the Dark Fairy Tales coloring book is a coloring book that I've repurchased just because I didn't like how it was looking throughout the coloring, really. So I mean, and so I've always, oh gosh, I hate that. So what I've always done with Kerby is I've just gone element by element, full element. So like the first thing I notice is that alligator skeleton head or wolf skeleton, whatever skeleton head we want to call it, I would color that. And then I'd color the candles, and then I'd color the jars, and then I'd color, you know, and then once you start just coloring single elements, even if you only do one at a time, you start to see the picture come together. And that's why I think doing it in a smaller checkerboard grid foundation, why that's actually, it would be an easier way for you is because, like, if you're, you know, I know a lot of people have that fear of doing, and so they tend to get they tend to stop and just be really in their minds. And so whenever you just give yourself these little, just give her these little spaces, you know, that you can color, then I think once you see your page really begin to fill up, then you'll, you know, it sparks your trust in your self-esteem, the belief that yes, you can do it. It might be difficult, but you know, like there's nothing wrong with you trying new things. And I know it might sound stupid, and what I'm saying isn't exactly making sense, but that's just kind of how I feel. And I've just seen so many people be afraid to start their Kerby Rosanes books on YouTube because, like, a lot of comments across all of YouTube, because they're so involved and they're so beautiful and they're so intricate, and it's those intricacies that I think almost make it easier if you don't overthink your coloring page, because you can start with these tiny little elements. So, you know, color one apple at a time, then color the bread, then color the basket, then color the dresser, you know, or just color one dresser drawer and then go on to something else and then go back. So now you see I have these three little parts colored in, and it's starting to show you the bigger picture colored in. And so if you were to just systematically do that, just bloop, 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 randomly, I do think that that would be a really good way to help you if you do not like this way. I also have this way. This is PBO drawing gum. It is latex, so if you are allergic to latex, look for an alternative or wear gloves. I don't know what the alternatives are because I haven't really looked into them. I actually didn't realize that it was latex. So yeah, what I did here, let me just pull you out a little bit more. Okay, so what I did here was, this is a double page, and I'm just focusing on this one half right now. And so I didn't do as much as I did on the last page, but I did go through here and get rid of some of the elements that, you know, might give you some anxiety. So you can go through here and get rid of the tail and just do all of the other natural elements first. But what I did was I got rid of some of the smaller ones that would take up a little bit more time. So I got rid of the flowers, I got rid of the crane, this gem, the hanging prayer flags, and I don't know if these are also prayer flags, but all these little, you know, Japanese style prayer flags. So yeah, and then you could go through and you can color the tree, and then you can, these are supposed to lift up. I haven't really used this kind. It's the kind in the jar. So all you really have to do, there we go, is start that. And this is honestly this is a blender. I got it in a sketch box, and it is a really good way to not use your hands. It's, Michael sells these. These are in, what are they in? I feel like they're in the paint aisle, or sorry, no, the clay, the builder clay or whatever, that sculpting clay, like the ones that people make jewelry out of. I've seen these over there. They're silicone on the top, and all you do is go in here and then just there we go. If you don't want your hand oil to get all over the page, this is going to take a little bit longer than your finger, but still, I think it does a pretty good job. Yeah, and so whenever you're ready to go on to the element, you just start pushing it off, and that's all it is. It's just, look how that one came off really easy. There we go, just like that, boom. So I do think that the drawing gum will be easy. All I did is I put it in this little jewelry dish that I made a couple years ago during the pandemic, and I used a 3.0 Aqua Elite Princeton brush round. So it's a round 3.0, which is different than, because there's a 3 and then there's an O round. Oh my gosh, where's my, right here. Okay, so then this is an O round. This is a 3.0 round, and there's also just a number 3 round. So I really like the Princeton brush series. I do need to like redo my my coloring brush. If you can tell, it's very not like this. This is a newer brush. This one is just like got bedhead. I need to boil water and kind of do a few dips to straighten it out. But yeah, that was another way. And then I do have one more way in this book that I wanted to show you guys. In any way that you, I'm smacking my phone with this, any way that you choose to color a Kerby page is going to be the right way, because it's starting you on his books, and his books are amazing. Yes, they're intricate. Yes, they're fun. Yes, you'll spend hours on the pages, especially if you're just using straight colored pencil like I do most of the time. And but once you start coloring everything and you start picking out patterns and whatnot, it will be easier to look at these and be like, where do I want to start, not what looks easiest to start. And so with this is just washi tape. So let me see, right here, bloop, right there. Just be careful. I would stick this on other things to kind of get the stickiness off, because look at that, I just took some of the paper and the ink off with it. Can you see that? Where is it at? Right there. Right there. So I would stick it to a piece of cloth, stick it to your arm, stick it to your skin a little bit, go dab, 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 and then put it on just to kind of get some of the adhesiveness off of it. but doing it this way is also a really good way. Start with, you know, one column, take the piece of tape off or jump over. I did ruin this page because I was going to use the gum on this page, so I do want to get this piece off so with that I can make sure that none of it also like and that is a big issue with not releasing some of the sticky and also not paying attention. I was rushing right there, should not have been rushing. This is probably not the better way to do this unless you know that your washi tape is very much not very sticky. I can fix that. I'll go back through with pencil. Let's see. This is just a preliminary sketch. Okay. That way, and then this way. So for the most part, this part is preserved. There is a gap right there. Right there. Right there. Okay. That's fine. So I fixed this. I'm going to be going through here very carefully. I'm actually going to take all these off just because yeah, see, like, when it releases, it will just release and then you're screwed. So yeah, unless you're gonna take some of the adhesive off, I don't recommend this way. I figured this way would be less marking your paper, but honestly, I would probably just stick with the I would just stick with putting a grid on it with a lighter pencil that you can see, but that isn't gonna, that the color will flow with in case, you know, some of it does end up showing on the page. Come on, release that. Thank you. Okay. Release that. Thank you. All right. And that is that. I just wanted to discuss that. I will be putting out another video shortly, and it will be a color along. Not sure what, oh gosh, what I'm going to be doing. I am going to start putting my videos in designated playlists for their coloring books because I am starting to amass coloring books that are quite a few coloring books by similar authors. So like Hannah Carlson, I have 2 books by. Kerby Rosanes is, I have like 10 books by. I have a couple of the Romantasy books by the same conglomeration of authors because there's about 5 or 6. It varies, but you know, the core ones are pretty much the same. They've got quite a few coloring books out, which I have enjoyed. I think the last name is Leiden. I have 2 of hers. I have a couple Selena French's. So I just noticed that, you know, like whenever I really like an author, I tend to start buying up all their coloring books that I can find. I do know that, oh my gosh, what is that book called? It's so beautiful. I don't know what it's called, but she has another one either that she just released or is putting out. So I want to get, oh my gosh. So I want to get another one of hers. So yeah, I do plan to show you guys my inventory of books soon. I do want to go through all my Kerby Rosanes books with you. I just actually don't think that I have one, not even one. I tend to page hop a lot, so I don't think I even have one finished page in a Kerby Rosanes book. So I think my closest one to that would be in my Alien Worlds book or my first Dark Tales book, but a lot of those pages I just end up really not liking. I also did think that with the dark fairy tale pages of doing a voiceover, putting all the footage that I filmed together for a time lapse, essentially making it very quick, doing a voiceover, talking, telling about reading the original fairy tale. So I do think that would be fun because I do have a very giant book of fairy tales that I got when I was a child. They are the dark ones, the original ones that I probably should not have been given access to when I was like a child.